God. I think I could probably sum up the whole video by just saying, go ahead and shoot your shot. Just be careful about where you shoot your shot because you don't want to go making any messes. To shoot your shot or not to shoot your shot? That's the question in today's video. The confidence to ask someone out. Let's talk about it. Do you do it? Do you not do it? Where do you find the confidence to do it? If confidence and self-esteem are something that are issues for you and you want to work your way up to being able to ask somebody out, let's say you're really vibing with someone, you're interested, but you're just not the most secure. Well, the first thing that I would do is start by looking at what are the signs of mutual interest. So it's one thing for you to be interested in another person. It's another thing for there to be mutual interest. Now, if you're a pro at this, go ahead, do your cold calling, and ask out whoever the heck you want to ask out. But if you're building up your self-esteem, if you don't feel real confident, this is where I would start. Look for the signs of mutual interest. So, eye contact, flirty comments, flirty touches, flirty body language. Do they smile a lot at you? Or do they run hot and cold? Are they seeming very, very interested one day and then cold or distant or shy or anxious the next? Maybe they became confused about their feelings for you. Maybe it took them by surprise. Are they nervous around you? Does their lip twitch or does their eye twitch when they're around you? Do they act differently around you than they do around other people? Because that would be another indicator of mutual interest. Couple other things are, do they watch you and are you watching them? Do you guys remember specific details about one another? There's going to be a lot of focus on one another without even being consciously aware of it. You'll just naturally gravitate towards that. If there are mutual signs of interest, then I would go forward to the next step. Number 2 is the confidence test. So on a scale of 0 to 100, how confident do you feel that this person is interested in you? What I would look for is at least about a 70% before I would go forward. If I wasn't sure whether I should take the next step or if self-esteem, confidence, if that's something that I was working on, this is what I would look for, that 70% marker of mutual interest. And if it wasn't there, let's say it was maybe at a 40 or a 50, then I would just feel the situation out some more. I would get to know that person. I would seek out opportunities to talk to them some more, to be in the same space as them, and then you'll have a chance to build up that dynamic between you and get more of a sense, or you may be able to talk to some of the people that they talk to and to find out indirectly through them whether there might be an opportunity or not. So that's another direction that you could take if you're not quite at the 70% level yet. And the reason I say 70% and not 80 or 90 or 100 is because right before you shoot your shot, everybody gets a little bit nervous. Everybody has to face that fear of rejection or that fear of failure. And so it's normal to second guess yourself a little bit right beforehand, especially if this is something that you haven't done a whole lot of before. So if you're at the 70% level, The next thing I would do is play the best case, worst case scenarios. This would be number 3, best case, worst case scenario here. And this is the part about you don't want to make a mess when you shoot your shot. Worst case scenario, let's say this is somebody that you work with and things don't work out, and then you still have to see them day after day after day. Knowing what you know about this person or knowing the potentials of what you know about this person, are you okay with that? If you're okay with that, then that's great. If you're not okay with that, then do you really want to risk it? That's a question you have to ask yourself, make a decision. But I also like to look at best case scenario because maybe the best case scenario is that this is your soulmate. This is the love of your life standing right in front of you. And all that's standing between you is that willingness to put yourself out there and face the rejection. But wouldn't it be better, best case scenario, to just find out? And that way, if you totally misread the situation, you can just move on with your life. No harm, no foul. So that's an example of a best case scenario. I would look at worst case scenario and the best case scenario, and then make a decision. Are you going to shoot your shot or not? Is it worth it to shoot your shot or not? Now you just got to ask. And if this is something that you're new to, I would just keep it very, very, very simple. So if let's just say you're a woman who is not used to asking men out, but this is something you want to try doing, you don't even have to directly ask them out right away. You could simply say something like, "Are you flirting with me?" Or, "I feel like there's chemistry here. Have I got it wrong?" You can give them an out. You can make it perfectly acceptable for them to decline. You could make cookies for them and say, "I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you and I'm thinking about you. And hey, here's my number if you want to grab coffee sometime too." Or you could just come right out and say, "Do you want to get coffee sometime?" Or, "I would love to chat with you one-on-one some more. Would you be interested in that?" Very, very simple. You don't have to plan a big fancy dinner or an elaborate speech. The shorter and the more to the point, the better. This next part is very important, and this is your response to whatever that person says. So if they say yes, don't freak out. Be prepared. Have something in mind like, "Great. Should I call you or do you want to call me?" Or, "Great. Here's my number." Or, "Wonderful. Are you free this Friday?" Don't say something like, "Oh my God, I didn't think I would get this far." Not a good idea. It's going to make them either consciously or unconsciously second guess their decision with you. Also, be prepared if they say no. So, if they're not interested, it can literally be as simple as, "Okay," or, "Well, I had to try. I had to give it a shot." Be okay with hearing no. And if somebody does say no to you, no is no. It's one thing to be indirect and then to get an indirect response in return. And those are very easy to confuse, to misunderstand. If you really want to find out if someone is interested, you need to be direct about it. And you need to give them an opportunity to respond directly to you. So if they directly say, "No, I'm not interested," or, "No, I have a boyfriend," or it's not going to happen for whatever reason, or maybe they're very blunt and they say it's never going to happen. You just need to accept that. You need to respect their boundaries and drop it. This is not the time to say, oh, I'll try harder, or I'll win you over. To call them over and over and over again, hoping that they will respond. If someone is not responding to you, if they are giving you silence, that is a no response. So leave them alone. And think about it this way. If someone rejects you, it's not really about you, it's about them and what they want for their life. But don't you owe it to yourself to put your time, your energy, your emotions into someone who is genuinely interested in you and potentially as interested in you as you're interested in them? If someone says no, the best thing that you can do for both them and you is to just graciously accept that and walk away. But also know the difference between a direct no and an indirect no. And if you get something indirect, just approach them more directly and ask for a direct yes or no. You could say something like, sorry, I'm not really following, or I'm feeling kind of dense today. Is that a yes or is that a no? Just make it very, very clear where you both stand. Nobody's going to die. Nobody's going to the hospital because you asked somebody out or somebody asked you out. Oftentimes, it's a compliment when somebody decides to ask you out. They're acknowledging that they find you attractive or beautiful or handsome, or whatever it is. As long as it doesn't get creepy, there will be a lot of people who will walk away from that and think, I'm feeling pretty fine today. Not looking too bad. It's normal to feel anxious when you're attracted to someone. It's all that adrenaline. Adrenaline isn't just a fear response, it's also a love response. As long as everybody is very clear about what's going on, nobody's going to get hurt. Here I go again. Just acting like a goofy little fool in front of the camera. To shoot your shot or not to shoot your shot. But really, go ahead and shoot your shot. I hope my parents don't see these. Ah, what am I doing? Good luck.